This is how America manipulates everything in this world. This is how America manipulates every economy in the world simply by printing dollars. And I can know that most of the people in their whole life were fighting to get this one simple piece of paper that gives value and whatever you want. That's what I'm going to talk about today. How dollars controls the economy and the world. It all started back in the colonial era when the start of global trade happened. As those European nations like England, France, and Spain conquered more land in the New World and the Old World, they create a system of international trading. This international trading created so much profit, magnificent profit for the countries in Europe. And the longer distance trading gives them more profit. For example, England and China. England will want to buy tea from China, and China will get iron and other resources and silver from England. And this trade gives a lot of profit to the traders who traded tea. And British have a large demand on tea. This is an example for long-distance trade creates large profit. But there's an issue here. In ancient times, there weren't that much currency trading and currency trading, making dollars to Chinese yuan, for example, or making British pound to whatever the currency that Qing dynasty uses when they sell tea. So there's one thing that everyone recognizes: minerals, specifically gold and silver. These two have a limited amount of production and they're valuable. That's recognized by any nation around the whole planet because they knew that gold itself is hard to obtain and it's worth a lot in every country. So there's an issue comes here. If the countries like England, America, or China want to trade with each other in ancient times, they have to bring gold and silver on their boat. Or they have to take the risk of your boat sunk, for example, and you lost all your gold while you're going to China. Or for something like this place just got a new gold mine and you just brought gold there and it doesn't worth that much. So there got to be something that's easier to carry, that will not be wrought that much, and you can still obtain it without the risk of losing actual gold, which is what is really valuable. It came a little single tool called dollars. The dollars represent the same value as gold, which means the first US dollar or any kind of paper money at the start is linked. It's more like a tool that represents gold. For example, US dollar started as a representation of gold. So US dollar worth very much back then. You can turn the US dollar to the equal amount of gold anytime you want. This is the start of trading. And as many people start to use it, more and more people start to use the tool called dollars. It's much more portable, it's much safer, and it created a new kind of economy and market. Now let's get into the second stage of dollars, which is, guess what is the organization that provided the service of making gold represented by paper money that's much more useful and much more portable. Think about where you save your money to. It's bank. And this created even more value. Imagine if you save the gold into the bank. And now you have those gold, but you have a paper that represent you have those gold, which means you can just use your dollars or paper gold to trade with other nations. Now, every countries know that this represent gold, which means everybody will recognize that, and every country can trade much more efficiently. But what happens to the gold back in the bank? Why are they taking it? Why are they just taking those gold for no reason? You have money to store it. There are also risks that people will rob your gold. So why? There are even interest offered if you put your gold into the bank. It is interest rate. The bank can also lend out this gold, again, in dollar forms to other people who needs it, like borrowing money to rent a house, to rent a business, to buy more stuff, whatever it is. So you can lend out those gold to other people, which means, one, more people uses your dollar and more people recognize it, and it's really unlikely for them to actually bring gold to trade again. And the second part is that if you lend out the money that should be stayed in the storage that doesn't create any value and any GDP, you put them back into the chariot wheel of the economy, which improves the economy. This is really crucial for many economic systems, which means you can use the useless money to actually create values. Now let's talk about after everyone started to not using gold or silver to actually trade, they're all using dollars. What will happen to people's mind while they're trading? Now, what they want is no longer in their mind. It's no longer gold and silver. It's the paper gold, which is dollars. And now, as the economy grew larger and becomes much more intricate, and literally everyone can give out dollars, what's that gonna cause? Economic chaos, which means that the economy will be chaotic. After every bank started to print out their own money, and it will seem super weird for you. How can everyone print out money? This is super weird to many people. If you can print out money, you can just print out for yourself and you can just use it. However, the actual process of printing money back then was different. You have to make your dollars backed up by gold, which means that the amount of money you're gonna print is limited because it needs to be backed up by gold. Now, as the economy becomes much more complicated, gold representing dollars, which is now the actual trading material, is really not good for the economy. And the economy needs stability from gold. Everyone knows that gold worth a lot of value. But now, as dollar becomes the new representation of value, there are a lot of cons for using gold paper, which is dollars. For example, one place got a bigger gold mines. What's the odds that you can get a big gold mine? You have to have a big gold mine to actually print out more money to improve the economy. Or in 1 year, what if many people want to buy those jewelries for gold? That's also messing up the economy. Oh, now somebody in the Middle East or rich people want to buy more gold. Now the whole economy and dollar amount will get squeezed because of that. Is that good? No. And as the world GDP grew larger and larger, the old system of gold representing money or dollars is become super vulnerable. And in the 1960s, the US breaks off from the Bretton Woods system, which is the old gold represent money system. This makes America break free from the old system of economy. It can actually manipulate the economy by their own, from printing out money, increase the interest rate, and other economic and monetary policies. But why does that happen is another really huge source that should be talked about. It's mostly because of Vietnam War and other economic issues in America during the 1960s, which forces the Nixon government to break off from the Bretton Woods system. So what happened that made America want to break off from Bretton Woods system, which created actually many credibility for American money? What happened was that Vietnam War cost so much money and it created a large inflation, which means Fed need to increase the interest rate and lower down the inflation. So what should they do? Now I'm going to learn a person called Paul Volcker. He increased the US interest rate to 19.1% in 1981. This created a large economic recession, you could say it, recession for America. But it actually, just one period of regulation made the whole next 20 years of economy a boom. So this is a really key moment for American economy. And what that means was America now can finally use this not just only as a gold paper, but use it as a tool to manipulate the economy, which is now the dollar policies and monetary policies are now the most important policy for economics, like interest rate and how much money they'll print. It's super important. And America also manipulates the world economy from dollars. And I know a lot of people are having interest on how Donald Trump's administration and now Chairman Powell of Federal Reserve will do to US dollars, because it is the key factor for American economy, as these two people have a lot of disagreement with each other. Another interesting fact, now as Donald Trump's tariff policy made US dollar weaker to the global market, in regular cases, in a time when economy is not that well, people will mostly invest in US dollar because it's more stable than most, including S&P 500. So most people buy dollars. Now dollars is also kind of unstable. The humans have another idea. Oh yeah, you know what really matters and what really have value? Gold. So the gold price, despite any other drops and even recession of the economy, it's still going up by a lot, while the whole market is dropping. And you can see the price of gold have a negative relationship with the whole market, which means when market ain't that good, the people wants to reduce risk by buying gold. But when economy is good, then gold price will drop because people will sell gold to buy more profitable economic accessories like stocks, funds, and other investment. But what if you want to invest in gold or just have some dollars? On my own idea, investing is more profitable than investing in gold. But gold is a really good tool to reduce long-term risk. So it's on you. But as a conclusion, US dollar went from representing gold to representing value to actually breaks off from gold to a tool that can manipulate the whole economy of the world. Thank you. Bye.